Trying to run digital advertising right now on platforms like Google or Meta, it honestly feels a bit like trying to hand out flyers in the middle of a stampede.
Oh, yeah. It is a brutal environment right now.
Right. It's just getting wildly expensive. The space is unbelievably crowded. And honestly, the returns are just diminishing. I mean, you are paying this massive premium just to shout into a void.
Exactly.
You're just crossing your fingers that someone, catches your billboard as they mindlessly scroll by.
Yeah, and for performance marketers right now, the platforms are just totally saturated.
Mm-hmm.
All blindness is like at an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you launch a technically flawless campaign, you are usually hitting people who are completely out of the buying mindset.
Right. They're just killing time.
Exactly. They're looking at vacation photos on social media.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't sitting there evaluating your sauce product.
And this is what we're getting into today, what if you didn't have to shout? What if you could position your brand exactly at the moment your target customer is sitting down, pouring out their precise budgets, their deep business problems, and their full context to an AI?
It's the holy grail, honestly.
It really is. And that is the promise of the ChatGPT Ads beta that just launched this month, July 2026.
Yeah, big news.
Huge. So for today's deep dive, we've grabbed a massive stack of sources. We've got OpenAI's official beta documentation, some leaked advertiser case studies from Business Insider, and raw data from the early beta testers just to figure out what's actually happening under the hood.
And there's a lot happening.
There is. So our mission today is to unpack the mechanics of this platform, cut through all the launch hype, and help you, the listener, figure out if your business is actually ready to play in this space.
And I think we really need to set a very firm baseline right at the top here.
Okay, lay it on us.
Because this represents a fundamental shift in how we approach digital real estate entirely. If you take anything away from this deep dive, let it be this: you cannot approach this with a traditional search engine mindset.
Yeah, right.
This is absolutely not Google Ads 2.0.
Not at all.
If you try to port over your exact match keyword strategy from Google, you are going to burn through your budget with zero to show for it.
Okay, let's pull on that thread, because I think to really grasp how to use these ads, we first have to understand the psychology of the user.
Yeah, the user state is everything.
Why is someone using ChatGPT operating with a fundamentally different mindset than someone typing into a search engine or scrolling a feed?
It really just boils down to the difference between transactional intent and conversational intent.
Okay, break that down.
So on a traditional search engine, you are inherently transactional. You use these fractured shorthand phrases, right?
Like accounting software enterprise.
Exactly. Or, best CRM 2026. The search engine is basically just a card catalog. Meanwhile, on social media, you are targeted based on passive behavioral exhaust.
Passive behavioral exhaust, I like that term.
Well, it's true. You clicked a link about business loans 3 weeks ago, and so now you're haunted by banking ads everywhere you go.
Right. Because you aren't really a person to those platforms, You're just a cluster of tracking pixels.
Precisely. But look at how people actually interact with ChatGPT. They don't type in fragments.
No, they write novels.
They write paragraphs. They establish personas. Like, a user will literally type, "I am the operations manager for a mid-sized logistics company. We have a $50,000 annual budget for route optimization software."
They just hand over all the context.
Exactly. They say, "Our current vendor is too slow. My team hates the UI. What are the best alternatives that integrate with our existing stack?"
Wow. Okay, let's unpack this. So if traditional search is like stopping a stranger on the street to ask for quick directions to a hotel, ChatGPT is like sitting down in a closed office with a luxury travel agent. You're explaining your entire family dynamic, your kids' peanut allergies, your exact budget, before anyone even looks at a flight.
That is the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Yes, and the implication for marketers is massive because it reveals the actual underlying problem behind the purchase.
Which is what you actually want to solve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When that logistics manager explains their team's frustration with the current UI, they aren't just looking for software, they're looking for team harmony,
Yeah.
and efficiency.
Right.
For a brand, this environment lets you inject your solution during that deep research and comparison phase. You aren't just fighting over the scraps at the checkout line anymore.
Okay, I love the theory, but let's talk about the actual mechanics.
Sure.
Because if the users are having these incredibly deep, nuanced conversations with their AI travel agent, how and where do the brand's billboards actually show up?
That's the big question.
Right, because if an ad interrupts a deeply technical coding question or like a sensitive business strategy session, users are going to revolt.
Oh, absolutely. And
Right.
OpenAI knows this, which is why the visual execution here is incredibly conservative.
How so?
The ads do not interrupt the generative text stream at all.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, they're anchored below the ChatGPT response, visually separated by a distinct UI border, and they're clearly labeled as sponsored.
Okay, so just at the bottom.
Yes, and you get the standard elements, right? Brand
Yep.
logo, headline, description, maybe a single image asset,
Yeah.
and the click-through link.
Okay, I want to pause right here and underline something from the beta documentation that I think is absolutely critical for you listening.
Oh, the organic rule.
Yes. OpenAI explicitly states that advertisers cannot pay to influence ChatGPT's organic generated answers. Full stop.
It is a hard firewall.
Right. You cannot buy your way into the AI's actual advice.
It's exactly. If you ask ChatGPT for a comparative analysis of CRM platforms, Salesforce cannot pay to ensure the AI names them as the #1 option in the actual text response.
Which is huge for trust.
It's essential. The integrity of the model's output is completely firewalled from the ad platform. The paid placement lives strictly in that designated zone below the chat.
Okay, which brings up the biggest technical question I have from looking at all these sources.
Let's hear it.
If I can't buy organic placement
Right.
and I can't bid on traditional exact match keywords,
Yeah.
how on earth does the system decide when to trigger my ad?
Okay, so it uses what they call a relevance-weighted second price option.
Whoa, okay, hold on. Let's break that down because I know a lot of people hear second price auction and their eyes just immediately glaze over.
Fair enough.
Walk us through how this actually functions when two advertisers are fighting for the same user.
Okay, let's start with the second price part, which is actually pretty standard in a lot of programmatic advertising.
Yeah.
It basically means if you are the highest bidder, you don't actually pay your maximum bid.
Wait, really?
Nope. You pay exactly 1 cent more than the second highest bidder.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so if you bid $10 for a click and the next guy bids $4, you only pay $4.01.
Okay, so it protects you from yourself a bit.
Exactly. It encourages advertisers to bid their true maximum value without that constant fear of wildly overpaying.
Okay, that makes sense for the pricing side, but where does the AI part come in? Because the documentation heavily emphasizes this relevance-weighted aspect.
Yeah, that is where the magic happens, and frankly, where the system aggressively punishes bad marketers.
I love that. How does it punish them?
Well, in a traditional auction on other platforms, a massive bid can sometimes overcome poor relevance. You can just buy your way to the top.
Right, the highest bidder wins.
But in the ChatGPT Ads ecosystem, relevance acts as a strict multiplier. The system is looking at the semantic meaning of the user's entire chat history in that session.
The whole session.
The whole session. Plus the landing page you're pointing them to, and something called context hints that you, the advertiser, provide.
I was hoping we'd get to context hints.
They're crucial.
Because the documentation is honestly a bit vague here. Are context hints not just broad match keywords by another name?
Not at all. And this is the trap most search marketers are going to fall into right away.
Okay.
Context hints rely on vector embeddings and semantic matching, not keyword string matching.
So no exact keywords.
Right. Instead of giving the system a keyword like, say, B2B marketing, you actually give the AI a full scenario.
You mean example?
Your context hint might literally be, show this ad when a user is expressing frustration with scaling their customer acquisition and is looking for automated agency solutions.
Oh, wow. So
Uh-huh.
you are literally prompting the ad delivery system with conversational context, kind of like a vibe check for where your ad belongs.
Yes, exactly. A vibe check is a great way to put it.
Yeah.
The AI is constantly converting the user's chat into a mathematical representation of intent in the background.
Right.
It takes your context hint, converts that into math, and checks the distance between the two.
And if they don't match?
If you bid $20, but your context hint is poorly aligned with the nuance of what the user is actually saying, your relevance score just plummets.
So your bid doesn't even matter.
Exactly. Your $20 bid essentially gets mathematically kneecapped. And the advertiser who only bid $3 but perfectly matched the semantic intent, they win the placement.
Man, OpenAI does this to brutally protect the user experience, don't they?
Absolutely.
That is fascinating. So the system inherently rewards marketers who understand their customers' psychology better than they understand their own wallets.
That is exactly right.
But okay, I have to play the skeptic here for a second.
Go for it.
Because it sounds utopian on paper, right? The AI perfectly matches the perfect ad to the perfect problem.
Sure.
But let's look at the actual rollout data. The PR push highlighted that the U.S. pilot hit over $100 million in annualized revenue in just 6 weeks.
Yeah, huge numbers.
With over 600 enterprise advertisers jumping on board by March 2026.
Right.
Honestly, I've seen these beta launches before. That just sounds like OpenAI hyping up their own shiny new toy.
Are advertisers actually making money on this right now, or is this just experimental budget burning?
Your skepticism is completely warranted here.
Okay, good.
Those are adoption metrics, not performance metrics. It proves advertisers are terrified of missing the boat and are throwing pest budgets at the platform.
Right. FOMO is driving the revenue.
Exactly. But when you look at the leaked case studies from Business Insider, the reality is far more sobering.
What did the leaks say?
One major sauce advertiser reported that their initial click-through rate, their CTR on ChatGPT, was actually significantly lower than their baseline Google Ads campaigns.
Wait, really? With all that deep intent matching, fewer people are clicking. Why?
Think about the user state we talked about earlier. When you are on a search engine, you are in a clicking state.
Yeah, you're hunting for links. You are looking for links to take you somewhere else. But when you are deeply engaged in a ChatGPT thread, you are in a reading and analyzing state.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right. The AI is doing the synthesis for you. You do not want to leave the interface unless the ad offers something hyper-specific that the AI cannot provide itself.
Like a specific tool or a proprietary report.
Exactly. The advertiser from the leak noted that while CTR was low, the clicks they did get converted at a much higher rate.
Interesting.
But it required entirely re-engineering their expectations.
Mhm.
Because right now, there are basically zero reliable industry benchmarks for this.
You really have to earn the right to pull them out of that deep reading state.
You do.
And because early advertisers were probably panicking over those low click-through rates, it looks like OpenAI was forced to rush out a massive suite of platform updates this month just to give them more control.
Yeah, the July 2026 maturation.
Exactly. Let's talk about these updates.
So they've rapidly shifted their focus to performance tools to keep advertisers happy. The biggest introduction is OCPC campaigns.
Which stands for?
Conversion optimized campaigns. So instead of just optimizing to find users who are likely to click out of curiosity, the algorithm now utilizes backend and data to find users who have a historical probability of actually taking an action on your site.
Like downloading a white paper or buying something.
Yeah, exactly. Swiping a credit card.
But to do that, they have to close the data loop, right?
They do.
Which brings us to the custom audiences feature. So advertisers can now upload their CRM data, like email lists, phone numbers, directly to the platform.
Yes.
But looking at the beta documentation, this is where I get really cynical.
Oh.
OpenAI requires a minimum of 25,000 matched users to activate a custom audience.
Yep.
And they actually recommend 100,000.
It is a massive barrier to entry.
It's a wall that basically locks out every small to medium business. I mean,
Yeah.
if you run a regional law firm or like a boutique local agency, you do not have 100,000 clean emails in your database.
No, you don't.
This feature is heavily skewed to favor enterprise giants who already have massive market share. Why would OpenAI restrict it like that?
It's likely a combination of two things. First, privacy.
Okay.
In an LLM environment, micro-targeting is incredibly dangerous. If you allow an advertiser to upload an audience of, say, 50 people, they could theoretically reverse engineer specific user queries based on when their ads trigger.
Oh, yikes. Yeah, that's a privacy nightmare.
Right, so a 25,000 user minimum creates an anonymity shield.
That makes sense. And the second reason?
Second, it's about the data density required for their matching models. To accurately find lookalike semantic patterns in how people converse with an AI, the system needs a massive data set to learn from.
It needs volume.
Exactly. But you're right, the practical result is that mom and pop shops are entirely boxed out of advanced targeting for now.
Man. Well, they've also rolled out back-end integrations for AppsFlyer and Adjust for mobile measurement, plus, standard pixel and API setups.
Yeah.
But tracking a user moving from a conversational AI app to a mobile browser to a checkout page, that just sounds like an attribution nightmare.
Oh, it is, and it's why the Conversions API is completely mandatory for serious campaigns now.
You can't just use a basic pixel.
You can't just rely on a browser pixel anymore, especially when so much ChatGPT usage is happening natively on their mobile app.
Right.
You have to feed server-side data back to OpenAI so their auction algorithm actually learns what a successful conversion looks like for your specific business.
All right, so let's put this all together for the listener.
Let's do it.
Let's say someone listening has the budget, they have the back-end tracking sorted, and they want to run a test. How do they actually execute a campaign in this environment without getting destroyed by that relevance algorithm we talked about?
Well, the first hurdle is just getting in. As of this month, the self-serve beta is restricted to 7 markets:
Which ones?
the US, UK, Australia, Canada, Japan, Korea, and New Zealand.
Okay, so mostly English-first markets, plus a couple of massive tech adoption hubs. I'm assuming the European Union is left out right now because navigating GDPR with an AI ad platform is just a legal minefield.
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
OpenAI is playing it very, very safe.
Makes sense.
There are absolutely no political ads allowed, no legal services, and ads are strictly suppressed for any user under 18.
Oh, and no ads in temporary chats either, right? Where history isn't saved.
Right, because the algorithm needs that history to match intent. Assuming you clear all those hurdles, the place where most campaigns will bleed money is in the structural setup.
Right, because if you just dump all your services into one generic ad campaign, the semantic matching breaks down entirely.
Exactly. You have to organize your ad groups by specific customer problems, not by your internal product categories.
Give us an example of that.
So if you sell project management software, you shouldn't just have one generic campaign called software.
Right.
You need one campaign targeting agency owners struggling with client onboarding and a completely separate campaign for freelancers dealing with invoice tracking.
Because the context hints will be totally different.
Your context hints for those 2 problems will be wildly different, yes.
Which feeds directly into the creative itself, like the actual copy of the ad.
Yes.
The beta guide is brutal about this. It explicitly says generic marketing copy will fail.
It absolutely will.
If your headline is just, grow your business today, the AI has no idea what to do with that.
Because the LLM evaluates the ad copy as a matching signal in the auction. Think about it. The AI is reading the user's prompt, and it's reading your ad copy.
Right.
If the user's asking about complex supply chain issues, and your ad just says, optimize your workflow, the mathematical distance between those 2 concepts is huge.
So your relevance score just drops.
Your relevance drops, and you lose the auction. Your copy must be hyper-specific.
Like what?
Like supply chain logistics software for mid-market manufacturers.
It's so dry.
It feels less punchy, I know. But it gives the AI the exact semantic hooks it needs to place you correctly.
So what does this all mean? It's almost like you aren't writing ad copy for the user anymore. You're writing ad copy for the AI to understand so it can introduce you to the user.
That is exactly what you are doing.
Wow.
You are giving the AI the parameters of the introduction, and that introduction has to seamlessly carry over to the landing page, too.
Oh, right. The landing page.
If you capture a user deep in a technical research chat, and your ad promises a white paper on server migration, you cannot drop them onto your generic corporate homepage where they have to navigate 3 drop-down menus to find it.
They'll just leave immediately.
The cognitive dissonance will cause them to bounce instantly, and your return on ad spend will completely tank.
It really emphasizes how this isn't just a new channel. It's a completely different philosophy of user acquisition. Like, you have to design for the conversation, not the click.
And that means businesses must treat this as a highly controlled experiment right now.
Yeah.
Do not look at CPMs or impressions as success metrics. In a chat interface, visibility means nothing if it doesn't align with intent. You have to aggressively measure true cost per acquisition and, more importantly, lead quality. Because of the novelty of ChatGPT ads right now, you might see a spike in curiosity clicks.
But curiosity does not pay the bills.
Exactly. High curiosity clicks don't always equal revenue.
All right, bringing this all together, advertising on ChatGPT is clearly offering unprecedented access to consumer intent at the exact moment they are looking for solutions.
It's powerful.
But at the end of the day, it's just a distribution tool. It cannot fix a confusing product, it cannot save a terrible website, and it certainly cannot mask a broken sales funnel.
Nope.
It just puts a massive spotlight on whatever foundation you've already built.
It really does. It amplifies your existing strengths and exposes your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And honestly, it raises a much larger, more provocative question about the future of digital presence as a whole.
Ooh, okay, where are we going with this?
Well, we spent this entire deep dive talking about paid integration, Right.
Yeah.
But if conversational AI is rapidly becoming the primary way consumers research, compare, and synthesize solutions, buying ads is only half the battle.
What's the other half?
If a user asks ChatGPT to analyze the top vendors in your space, and your brand isn't organically woven into the AI's core training data,
Oh, wow.
you effectively don't exist in that ecosystem. The real question is, how will brands have to fundamentally tear down and rebuild their organic content and SEO strategies just to ensure the AI knows they exist before a user ever even triggers a paid ad?
Wow. That is the real puzzle, isn't it?
It is.
Because if the AI travel agent doesn't even know your airline exists organically, buying a billboard in their office is a steep uphill battle.
Exactly.
We will definitely need to tackle AI-driven SEO in a future conversation because that is fascinating. But for now, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep asking the tough questions, keep experimenting with these new tools, and we'll see you next time.